It would be hard to describe the amount of influence that AFI had on me when I first was getting into music as a very young kid, and has continued to have on me as I've grown as an adult and as a professional musician. You know, that they were the first band that I discovered on my own. And a lot of times when we're young, the music that we listen to is stuff that we are given, right? So I was listening to a lot of old school punk rock that my dad liked, which I love those bands, but it was bands like Stiff Little Fingers and the Sex Pistols and the Clash. And AFI was the first band that I found on my own. They were my band in that way, and introduced me to an entire world of contemporary punk rock music. Really, AFI is the reason why I ever even went to or knew that a Warped Tour existed, because when Sing the Sorrow came out, I was able to go to Warped Tour as a 12-year-old kid and see them play. And I stood at that stage and I saw Rancid and Dropkick Murphys and Tiger Army and all these bands that I grew to not only love but become completely obsessed with. And really, it's down to AFI in terms of that being a huge initial influence on me, and has continued to this day to be a big influence. The messaging and the idea of, you know, this sort of community, and speaking specifically to people who felt like they were outside of the societal norms. For a kid growing up in suburban Cincinnati who didn't really have a lot in common with people around me, it was such an incredible point of connection and meant so much to me. And I would pore over magazines to try to find articles about AFI and read the words that Davey said. And, you know, this is a big one that was important to me. I would find bands through the things that either he was wearing a shirt or things that he talked about that influenced him. You know, my introduction into Sam Hain and the Danzig era of the Misfits was through the Son of Sam record. I discovered Sisters of Mercy as a kid by virtue of seeing Davey in the Art of Drowning era with the Sisters of Mercy t-shirts on. Those were hugely influential to me. And in reality, you know, even the aesthetic of Black Veil Brides, particularly in the early days, a lot of people, and rightly so, associate these sort of glam elements. But for me, a lot of that aesthetic was down to the Sing Sorrow era Davey, which was influenced, I believe, by Ian Astbury and stuff like that. You know, obviously Andrew Eldridge, as we talked about before with the Sisters of Mercy thing, that was a huge influence on me to go back and go, oh, what was Stiv Bader's dressing like in Lord's the New Church, or all those kinds of things. And so between the messaging, the music, and the aesthetic, it was and is hugely important to me, and something that I don't even know that I could qualify the amount of influence that it had on me. It was my band. You know, I joined the Despair faction as a kid, and it was hugely important for me to have that. And, you know, I believe I was 12 years old when Sing the Sorrow came out, and it was right at that time when it was just so, you know, Girls Not Grey is on alternative radio, and it was just really great for me to have that as a kid, and then go back and discover Art of Drowning and the All Hallows EP and all the Nitro records, Black Sails. And it was just a really incredible, lovely, amazing thing to have as a young kid that I will always appreciate, and I think was one of the most important things that got me into doing this. So having the opportunity to cover a song from that record that was so transformative for me, and to do so in Black Veil Brides, was a dream. The Death of Seasons cover that is on our Vindicate record that just came out, I think turned out amazingly. I'm so proud of it. I think Jake did an incredible job with not only just recreating the elements to sound more quote-unquote Black Veil, but also doing the programming elements, and he produced the song, and it's just incredible. So if you haven't yet, if you're a fan of AFI, or if you're a fan of Black Veil Brides, go stream our cover of Death of Seasons. And yeah, I just wanted to tell everybody the level of influence that band has had on me and continues to have, and I appreciate them so much.